The gallery encounter the exclusive Meridian Gallery buzz with the quiet sophistication of Seattle's elite. Crystal glasses clinked softly as wealthy patrons admired the contemporary art pieces, their conversations a low murmur of cultured appreciation. Sophia Rivers stood in the corner, feeling completely out of place in her simple black dress among the designer gowns and expensive suits. She clutched her small clutch purse, wondering why she had let her roommate convince her to attend this opening as a photography assistant. Damian Cross moved through the crowd with the confidence of a man who owned everything he surveyed. At 32, he had built Cross Technologies into a global empire, his sharp mind and ruthless business instincts making him one of the youngest billionaires in the tech industry. His tailored charcoal suit fit his tall, athletic frame perfectly, and his dark hair was styled with casual precision. Women turned to look as he passed, but his attention was focused on the art, not the admirers. Sophia was adjusting her camera settings when disaster struck. Stepping backward to get a better angle of a sculpture, she collided directly into someone's chest. Her camera went flying, and she would have fallen if strong hands hadn't caught her arms, steadying her against a solid, muscular torso. "I'm so sorry," she gasped, looking up into the most striking pair of gray eyes she had ever seen. The man holding her was devastatingly handsome, with sharp cheekbones and a perfectly sculpted jaw. His proximity sent an unexpected jolt of electricity through her entire body. "Are you hurt?" His voice was deep and smooth, with just a hint of concern. He made no move to release her, his hand still gripping her arms gently but firmly. "No, I'm fine, just embarrassed," Sophia replied, her cheeks burning with mortification. "Your suit. Did I damage it?" She noticed a small wet spot on his jacket where her wine glass had splashed. Damian glanced down at the stain, then back at her face. "It's nothing that can't be clean. I'm more concerned about you." His eyes traveled over her features, taking in her flushed cheeks, wide hazel eyes, and the way she was biting her lower lip nervously. "Thank you for catching me," Sophia said, suddenly very aware of how his hands felt on her skin, even through the fabric of her dress. "I should probably go find my camera. Allow me." Damian finally released her and walked over to where her camera had skittered across the marble floor. He picked it up carefully, examining it for damage. "It seems to be intact." "Oh, good." Sophia sighed with relief as he handed it back to her. Their fingers brushed during the exchange, sending another spark of awareness through her. "I can't afford to replace it right now." "You're a photographer?" Damian asked, his interest clearly piqued. "Just a student, actually. I'm here working for the gallery tonight, taking photos of the event." Sophia tucked a strand of her long brown hair behind her ear, a nervous gesture that Damian found oddly endearing. "And what do you study when you're not photographing art galleries?" "Fine arts with a focus on photography. I graduate next month." She paused, then added with a self-deprecating smile, "assuming I can find a job that actually pays the bills." Damian studied her face intently. There was something refreshing about her honesty, her lack of pretense. Most women he met either wanted something from him or were intimidated by his wealth and power. This girl seemed genuinely unaware of who he was. "What's your name?" he asked. "Sophia." "Sophia Rivers." "Damian Cross." He extended his hand formally, and when she shook it, he held her hand a moment longer than necessary. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Sophia Rivers." Recognition flickered in her eyes. "Cross Technologies? You're that Damian Cross?" "Guilty as charged." His smile was slightly amused. "Does that change how you see me?" Sophia considered the question seriously. "It explains the very expensive suit, and why everyone keeps glancing over here nervously. But no, I don't think it changes anything important." "And what do you consider important?" "Whether someone is kind. Whether they help photographers who crash into them instead of getting angry about wine stains." She smiled, and Damian felt something shift in his chest. The way someone treats people says more about them than their bank account ever could. Interesting philosophy. Damian found himself drawn to her genuineness, her lack of calculation. "Would you like to get some air? It's rather warm in here." Sophia glanced around at the crowded gallery. She should probably stay and continue working. But something about this man made her want to throw caution to the wind for once in her carefully planned life. I probably shouldn't. I'm supposed to be working. How long have you been here tonight? About 3 hours. I think you've earned a short break. Damien's smile was persuasive. Besides, I'd like to hear more about your photography. Against her better judgment, Sophia found herself nodding. Just for a few minutes, Damien led her through the crowd toward the gallery's outdoor terrace. She noticed how people stepped aside for him, how conversations paused as he passed. He commanded attention without even trying, his presence magnetic and powerful. The terrace overlooked the city, Seattle's lights twinkling like stars below them. The cool night air was refreshing after the warmth of the crowded gallery. This is beautiful, Sophia said, moving to the railing. Yes, it is. But when she looked at Damien, he was looking at her, not the view. The intensity in his gaze made her pulse quicken. Mr. Cross, Damien, he corrected, moving closer to her. And I meant what I said, Sophia. You are beautiful. No one had ever looked at her the way he was looking at her now, like she was something precious and rare that he wanted to possess. It should have frightened her, but instead it awakened something deep inside her that she had never known existed. I should go back inside, she said softly, but she made no move to leave. Should you? Damien stepped closer, close enough that she could smell his expensive cologne, feel the warmth radiating from his body. Or would you rather stay here with me? Sophia looked up into his gray eyes and saw her own desire reflected there. For once in her life, she wanted to do something impulsive, something that wasn't safe or planned. I'd rather stay, she whispered. Damien's smile was triumphant and tender. Good girl. The words sent a shiver through her that had nothing to do with the cool night air. Because I'm not nearly done talking to you, Sophia Rivers, as they stood there in the moonlight. Both of them knew that this chance encounter had started something that would change both their lives forever. The pursuit 3 days had passed since the gallery encounter, and Sophia couldn't get Damien Cross out of her mind. They had talked on the terrace for over an hour, about art, ambition, and dreams. He had listened to her with an attention that made her feel like the most fascinating woman alive. When he had finally walked her to her car, he had kissed her hand like an old-fashioned gentleman. But the look in his eyes had been anything but innocent. She was editing photos in her small apartment when her phone rang with an unknown number. Hello? Sophia, it's Damien. His deep voice sent familiar butterflies dancing in her stomach. How did you get my number? She asked, though she was secretly thrilled to hear from him. I have resources. There was amusement in his tone. I hope you don't mind the intrusion. Suppose not. She couldn't keep the smile out of her voice. Good. I'm calling because I have a proposition for you. Sophia's heart skipped a beat. What kind of proposition? I need a photographer for some upcoming events. Corporate functions, charity galas, that sort of thing. The pay would be excellent, and it would give you exposure to potential clients. Are you offering me a job, Mr. Cross? Damien, he corrected. And yes, I am. But I'm also asking if you'd like to have dinner with me tonight. Sophia was quiet for a moment, torn between excitement and caution. Damien Cross was dangerous territory for someone like her. He was too wealthy, too powerful, too incredibly attractive for her own good. Sophia, are you still there? Yes, I'm here. I'm just thinking. About what? About whether getting involved with you is a terrible idea. Damien's laughter was rich and warm. It probably is. But sometimes the most dangerous things are also the most rewarding. Is that your business philosophy? Among other things, his voice dropped to a lower, more intimate register. Say yes, Sophia. Let me take you somewhere beautiful and show you what your life could be like. Against every rational thought in her head, Sophia found herself saying, yes, I'll pick you up at 7. Wear something elegant. After he hung up, Sophia stared at her phone in disbelief. Had she just agreed to date a billionaire? And what did he mean by show her what her life could be like? At exactly 7 o'clock, a knock came at her door. Sophia opened it to find Damien in a perfectly tailored black suit, looking like he had stepped out of a magazine. His gray eyes swept over her appreciatively. taking in the navy blue dress she had borrowed from her roommate. "You look stunning," he said, offering her his arm. "Thank you. You clean up pretty well yourself." She was proud of how steady her voice sounded. Despite the way her heart was racing, Damien led her to a sleek black sports car that probably cost more than she would make in 5 years. "I thought we'd go somewhere we could talk without interruptions," he said as he held the passenger door open for her. They drove through the city to an exclusive restaurant on the waterfront. The maitre d' greeted Damien by name and led them to a private table with the perfect view of the Sound. Sophia had never been anywhere so elegant, where every detail from the crystal glasses to the fresh orchids on each table spoke of understated luxury. "This is incredible," she said, looking around in wonder. "I'm glad you like it." Damien was studying her reactions intently. "Tell me, Sophia, what do you want from life?" The question caught her off guard. "I want to create something meaningful with my photography. Maybe have my own gallery someday, help other artists get recognition. I have ambitions." Damien leaned back in his chair. "What about personally? What do you want for yourself?" Sophia considered the question. "I want to feel alive, I suppose. Sometimes I feel like I'm just going through the motions, playing it safe. I want passion, adventure, something that makes me feel truly awake. And what would that look like? I don't know. I've never let myself imagine it." She met his gaze directly. "What about you? What does Damien Cross want that he doesn't already have?" Damien was quiet for a moment, his fingers drumming against the table. "I want someone who challenges me. Someone who isn't impressed by what I own, but by who I am. Someone who can match my intensity." That sounds lonely, being that intense all the time. It can be. His smile was rueful. "Most people find me overwhelming. Do you think I do?" "No, I think you're drawn to it, even if it scares you." Sophia felt her cheeks flush because he was absolutely right. There was something magnetic about his confidence, his complete self-assurance. It awakened something in her that had been sleeping her entire life. Their conversation flowed effortlessly through dinner. Damien told her about building his company, about the challenges of making decisions that affected thousands of employees. Sophia shared her dreams of using photography to tell important stories, to capture moments of beauty and truth. "Can I ask you something?" Sophia said as they shared dessert. "Anything." "Why me? You could have dinner with anyone. Models, socialites, other successful business people. Why a broke art student?" Damien set down his fork and looked at her seriously. "Because you're real, Sophia. You don't want anything from me except my company. When you look at me, you see me, not my bank account or my reputation. And what do you see when you look at me? Potential." His gray eyes were intense. "Beauty that doesn't know its own power. Strength that hasn't been tested yet. Fire that's waiting for the right person to kindle it." Sophia's breath caught. "Damien, I want to be the one to show you who you really are, Sophia. I want to unlock all that passion and intensity you keep hidden away. What if I'm not as strong as you think I am?" Damien reached across the table and took her hand, his thumb stroking across her knuckles. "Then I'll make you stronger. I'll push you to discover what you're capable of." "That sounds dangerous." "The best things in life usually are." He brought her hand to his lips and pressed a soft kiss to her palm. The gesture sent electricity shooting through her entire body. "The question is, are you brave enough to find out what you're made of?" Sophia looked into his eyes and saw something that both thrilled and terrified her. She saw desire, yes, but also something deeper. She saw a man who was used to taking what he wanted, and right now what he wanted was her. "What would it mean, saying yes to you?" "It would mean letting me take care of you, letting me show you pleasures you've never imagined, trusting me to push your boundaries and discover what truly makes you feel alive. And in return, you give me your trust, your surrender, your complete and total honesty about what you want and need." Sophia felt like she was standing at a crossroads. She could play it safe, finish school, get a normal job, live a quiet life. Or she could say yes to Damien Cross and discover what it felt like to truly live. "I'm scared," she admitted quietly. "Good. Fear means you understand the magnitude of what I'm offering you." Damien's grip on her hand tightened. But I promise you this, Sophia. I will never hurt you. I will cherish you, protect you, and show you wonders you can't even dream of. Looking into his intense gray eyes, Sophia made her choice. Yes, she whispered. Show me. Damien's smile was triumphant and possessive. You won't regret this, Sophia. From this moment forward, you're mine to take care of. As they left the restaurant, Sophia knew her quiet, ordinary life was officially over. Damien Cross was about to show her a world she had never imagined, and she couldn't wait to discover every single thing he had to teach her. The transformation 2 weeks had passed since Sophia agreed to let Damien into her life, and everything had changed. He had been true to his word, showing her a world of luxury and sophistication she had never imagined. Private dinners at exclusive restaurants, weekend trips to his cabin in the mountains, evenings at the opera where she wore designer gowns he had chosen for her. But more than the material pleasures, Damien was awakening parts of her soul that had been dormant her entire life. He challenged her thinking, pushed her to be more confident, and saw potential in her that she was only beginning to recognize in herself. Tonight, he had brought her to his penthouse apartment, and Sophia could feel the electricity between them crackling with unprecedented intensity. They had been building toward this moment for weeks, and she knew that tonight everything would change between them. You're nervous, Damien observed as they stood in his living room, city lights twinkling beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows. A little, Sophia admitted, smoothing her hands down the silk dress he had bought for her. It was burgundy red and fit her like it had been made for her body. There's no pressure, Sophia. We go at your pace, always. Damien moved closer to her, his presence both comforting and overwhelming. But I can see it in your eyes. You're ready to discover who you really are. He was right. Over the past 2 weeks, Sophia had felt herself changing, becoming more confident, more aware of her own desires. Damien had a way of making her feel like the most desirable woman alive, and under his attention, she had begun to bloom. What happens now? She asked, looking up into his gray eyes. Now, show you what it feels like to be truly cherished by someone who sees all of you. Damien cupped her face gently in his hands. I show you what it means to surrender completely to someone who will worship every inch of you. When he kissed her, it was different from their previous gentle kisses. This one was hungry, possessive, claiming her mouth with an intensity that made her knees weak. Sophia melted against him, her hands fisting in his shirt as she kissed him back with equal fervor. You're so beautiful, Damien murmured against her lips. My beautiful girl. Something about those words, about being claimed as his, sent fire racing through Sophia's veins. She had never wanted anything more than she wanted to belong to this man completely. Damien, she breathed, not even sure what she was asking for. I know, sweetheart. I know exactly what you need. His hands tangled in her hair, tilting her head back so he could trail kisses along her throat. You need someone to take control, to make the decisions, to show you pleasures you've only dreamed about. Sophia's breath caught as his words awakened something deep and primitive within her. She had always been the responsible one, the one who made careful plans and followed rules. But with Damien, she wanted to let go of all that control. Yes, she whispered. Show me. Damien's smile against her throat was triumphant. That's my good girl. Trust me, Sophia. Trust me to take care of you. He led her to his bedroom, which was as elegant and masculine as the rest of his apartment. The massive bed dominated the room, and Sophia felt a thrill of nervous anticipation as she looked at it. Sophia, Damien said, turning her to face him. I need you to understand something. When I touch you, when I make you mine, it changes everything. You become mine to protect, mine to cherish, mine to please. Do you understand what that means? It means I belong to you, she said, the words sending a shiver of excitement through her. Completely. In every way that matters. His gray eyes were intense in the soft lighting. And I belong to you just as completely. Your pleasure, your happiness, your safety. They become my responsibility and my privilege. Sophia felt tears prick her eyes at the reverence in his voice. No one had ever looked at her like she was precious, like she was something worth protecting and cherishing. I want that, she said firmly. I want to be yours, Damien. Then you are. He kissed her again, deeper this time, his hands beginning to explore her body with reverent appreciation. "You're mine now, Sophia. My beautiful, perfect girl." As Damien began to undress her with gentle, worshipful hands, Sophia felt herself transforming. The shy, uncertain art student was falling away, replaced by a woman who knew her own worth, who understood her own power. "You're perfect," Damien whispered as he revealed her body inch by inch. "Absolutely perfect." Under his intense gaze and loving touches, Sophia discovered parts of herself she had never known existed. She learned that she was sensual, passionate, capable of desires she had never imagined. Damien guided her through each new sensation with infinite patience and skill, showing her pleasure beyond anything she had dreamed possible. "Let go, sweetheart," he murmured against her ear as she trembled in his arms. "Stop thinking and just feel. Let me take care of everything." And Sophia did let go. For the first time in her life, she stopped planning and analyzing and simply allowed herself to be overwhelmed by sensation and emotion. In Damien's arms, she felt safe enough to be completely vulnerable, completely open. Hours later, as they lay tangled together in his silk sheets, Sophia felt like an entirely different person. She felt alive in a way she never had before, awakened to possibilities she had never imagined. "How do you feel?" Damien asked, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on her bare shoulder. "Like I've been asleep my whole life, and just woke up," she said honestly. "Like I never really knew who I was until tonight." "You're magnificent, Sophia. You always were. You just needed someone to help you see it." Sophia turned in his arms to look at him. "I love you, Damien. I think I've loved you since that first night at the gallery, and I love you, a beautiful girl, more than I thought possible." He kissed her forehead tenderly. "You're mine now, completely and forever." "Forever," Sophia agreed, knowing she meant it with every fiber of her being. As dawn broke over Seattle, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, Sophia knew that her transformation was complete. She was no longer the shy, uncertain girl who had bumped into a stranger at an art gallery. She was a woman who knew her own power, who understood the depth of her own desires. She was Damien Cross's woman, and she had never been happier or more complete in her entire life. In his arms, surrounded by his love and protection, Sophia had found not just passion but purpose. She had discovered who she was meant to be, and she knew that with Damien beside her, she could accomplish anything. Their love story was just beginning, but Sophia knew it would be epic. Together, they would build a life filled with passion, adventure, and a love so deep it would last forever. "You are mine now," Damien whispered as sleep began to claim them both. "And you are mine," Sophia replied, sealing their eternal bond with a kiss. Their hearts beat in perfect synchronization, two souls that had found their missing halves, ready to face whatever the future might bring as long as they faced it together.